Cheers to another one.
Yeah.
Man, that is good. Oh. Man, I like this. I like this bar. This is
not bad, right? Yeah.
I tell you. So what do we have going here?
Well, this here is a jalapeno pineapple margarita. Everything from scratch.
It tastes as fancy as you just said it.
Yeah,
so you know.
It's good. And along the rim of the glass there is like a combination of chili powder, fresh cracked pepper, sea salt, and some sugar.
Man, that is good.
Yeah, it's really nice, right? It's our last little touch of summer here.
Yeah, I love it as we say goodbye to the summer. I guess we're not supposed to say the date on which we're recording, but based on the news we're going to cover today, and the fact that I'm going to say it's the end of summer.
I think people can figure it out.
Happy Labor Day to everyone.
We should mention, obviously, we got a little different setup here today and what that's all about. And there's another chair here.
Yeah. And we're not going to just do a Clint Eastwood empty chair on the stage kind of thing. There is a person that's gonna fill that. But before we bring our guest out, I just want to kind of go through. Well, the first thing I want to say is, man, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. I genuinely enjoy. I did not think I'd enjoy it this much.
Yeah.
Like, we're just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when Claire and Aaron were like, oh man, can you guys just do a podcast where you can like talk like yourselves? And we're like, you mean like idiots?
Right, yeah. Like two moms.
And we're like, yeah, I don't know if it's going to work. And we did the first 2 episodes that were like pretty light on content and just seeing if it worked. And yeah, I mean, we're not as dumb as we thought we were, or at least the dumbness proves worthwhile.
I think maybe we are as dumb as we thought we were, and that's why it's working.
I think that's it.
That's what I would lean into.
I think that is an excellent transition to why we have an empty chair and why we're starting.
Sure.
One of the, we did last episode, whenever we recorded it.
It wasn't last week.
It was another time. We kind of went through, what people are saying, the comments and the critiques they were giving us. And for everybody listening, definitely want to hear the critiques. Like, we appreciate that people are enjoying it, but we're new at this. We need to figure out how this works, what best serves. If we can actually be helpful, this is great. And one of the things people told us was, this is just not substantive enough.
Right.
I think the specific comment was, can you guys pick like one topic and go deep on it?
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, it's going to be tough for you and me. Because as we sell this podcast, we are 2 idiots.
Right.
And so how are we going to fix that? We're going to start having guests.
Yeah.
So we do have first guest. We'll wait to reveal the guest when the person comes in. But it's going to be fun, I think. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about something. I'll let the guest kind of give their opinion on it. But we're going to go down kind of one theme a week.
Sure.
Try to get that cadence going and try to see how that works.
Sounds good.
The other thing I want to try to do, I know we're not talking about what day it is or the recurrence of it, but there's certain things that we can't ignore, and there's certain things that happen in the news that particularly today, so you can tell what day it is.
Okay.
There are some things going on that I'll just touch on, and I'm actually more interested to hear what people think about it. And so today is the day where de minimis gets eliminated from the U.S.
No mas.
No mas de minimis.
Yeah,
I think that's a thing.
Nice.
I think
No mas de minimis.
Yeah. And
de minimis.
I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go into it too much because this is gonna get out of control quickly. But I will say, it's clearly just another example of a complete change in the world we live in. Right. And, we don't get political on this podcast. We could, but it's definitely something that needs to be considered, right? It needs to, it's not just the subject itself, right? But, eliminating that, I'm sure everybody who's listening to this knows what it is, but, making entry on something under $800 is now something that's required.
Right.
Doing that is, especially in the era of e-commerce, Amazon, just-in-time delivery.
Yeah, just think about the impact. Just on the amount of stuff moving that used to fall under that category.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And so, I mean, it's happening.
Yeah.
We'll see how, customs reacts to it.
It'll probably be appropriate to do a deep dive on that maybe next episode, because then we'll see sort of the impact, right? Exactly. You said like today's ground zero, day one.
Yeah.
But what's this look like a couple weeks from now? Be interesting to see.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see, and we'll see who's willing to come on and talk about the pros and cons of it. There's obviously the express carriers have an issue. The customers have an issue. The government themselves, I doubt we're going to get anyone.
We're not getting anybody
to come on and say. But I'll say this from my background. It seems like it's a problematic change,
right?
But there is something to be said for getting a lot more data on a lot more shipments and being able to target based on risk and see if that actually works out. So what are the pluses and minuses?
Yeah.
Although major day, it's not something we could ignore. And I think we'll try every time we do this recording, we'll try to touch on something that hits so more timely.
Two things I want to address before we get started.
Yeah.
I didn't get the memo. You have me wearing this stupid black t-shirt for the third episode. You're in something different, so thanks. Yeah. That's the first thing.
Well, this is pause on that. This shows you how much we prepare for this show.
Right.
we go with something, it works, and then I thought to myself, F this. I'm not.
Yeah. Literally, the last episode, you're like, I guess this is going to be our thing now, black t-shirts. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I got my uniform on for today. I'm not wearing a black one next week.
You know how stubborn you are? This is your house. You could have changed.
I could have changed. I could have changed. I wanted to make a point.
It was good for the bit.
It was good for the bit.
It was good for the bit.
The other thing I want to mention, just because I completely forgot, I think on our second episode, was one of the comments, and I think it's worth mentioning. It has nothing to do with customs, but somebody said, "Hey, you guys are drinking all the time on this podcast. Why don't you do it from a bar?"
Oh, that's a good idea.
So that was Kester, actually.
Thank you, Kester.
And thank you for that comment and that suggestion. You know what? It's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, we have this is a set, right, that we've established here, and the equipment is all here and things that you can't see in the background, but it's mobile enough. We could move. So I think let's entertain that. And I think you maybe even know a bar owner.
Yeah, for a lot of people that know, including Kester, my brother Kyle is the general manager for Atlas and the locations. One in right down by Nats Stadium. Yeah. So on a slow day when Nats aren't playing and there's no concert, maybe
let's do it.
They'll open it up. We'll do it midday. See what we can do. I think that
would be a lot of fun. Yeah.
I think the other thing that goes with that is we were talking about it just before we came on with our guest, and when the guest comes out, it's going to be really weird.
Drum roll,
especially the way
maybe
I'm
I'll
talking
edit
about
drum
this
roll into it as she.
I think you should
post editing. Yeah, a little drum roll.
But we were talking about it, and we were talking about the fact that if we're going to do this, let's put the podcast out there in more places, and maybe people's feeds will start to. And we're like, who's going to get a feed for customs podcasts? Like we know them, so. I mean, who's going to pick this up? It's the cocktails piece. That's the most important.
It's the most important thing for me.
I mean, right. Like, what people don't realize is we secretly came up with the idea for customs and cocktails because all we really want to do is have a reason to talk about cocktails.
Great excuse.
So we're backing into it. So our guests are going to start out, customs, trade experts. Of course, we're going to talk about what we know. Mm-hmm. And then slowly, by the time we're doing it in a bar, this is going to be a cocktail.
Just cocktails.
And then like maybe customs in terms of like traditions that people have while they're drinking. But I think the future is set. We're good. But for the present, we've got our guest coming in. We're going to have her come in, sit down.
Sounds good. I'm excited for this.
And we'll see what happens.
All right.
Cheers. Cheers and welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's nice having you.
Mm-hmm. First of all, before we introduce who you are, what do you think of the cocktail?
It is delicious.
Yeah.
Spicy, nice.
It's a nice balance, right? Mm-hmm. Not too spicy, just a little in the back of your throat. You just feel it tickling a little.
Mm-hmm. A little tingly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good. Thank you so much.
This is the end of the summer drink. I think our next episode, we're going to be creeping into October flavors and September flavors and whatnot.
A pumpkin something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Something.
Cinnamony.
cinnamon, nutmeg. I don't know. We'll see where we go.
By the time we hit December, January, it's going to be hot toddies.
Oh, yeah.
Mulled wine. Like, right?
Nice. Yeah, that'll be a December episode.
It's almost like I forgot we have a guest. We're continuing on.
You're too excited about the cocktails.
Before we went to the break, we kind of made a public declaration that this is slowly going to evolve into a cocktails podcast and the customs pieces.
Yeah. Once we get the audience
just
and
an
they're
accessory
and we realize like they just want to hear us talk about
Exactly.
All right.
But while we still have to make some pretense, we're happy you joined us. This is the first guest of the podcast. I will introduce you by your professional title, and you may want to introduce some things about your personal life that might be relevant to this podcast. Right now, you are the lead program manager for the Global Alliance for Trade Facilitation, right? Managing a few projects. You have managed some. You're currently managing others. But before that, you were with the government of Costa Rica in their Ministry of Foreign Trade. So I'll let you talk a little bit about yourself and kind of your origin story. But Laura Escalante, it's a pleasure to have you here, and looking forward to hearing what you have to say. I'm a little scared, and you're probably going to reveal why I'm a little scared in your personal introduction.
Well, thank you so much. I think people have heard my name already. You have talked about me in the podcast.
I think mentioned.
It's been
for
mentioned.
Sure.
Yeah,
it has been mentioned. For everyone's sake,
don't be afraid to drink while you're talking. I mean, that's what this is all about.
I'm looking forward to spit takes at some point when we have more guests. But anyway.
So I'm Andrew's wife, and this is why I'm here. And
no.
I'm here because of my professional capacity. But this is also how we met, because we met working. And I don't know, Shawn, I think you have heard our story, but I was working in the Ministry of Foreign Trade of Costa Rica, where I'm originally from, and I was the trade facilitation coordinator at the ministry. And Andrew came to my office for a meeting to see if a project that we were doing at the time that had to do with border modernization,
which just completed.
Wow. A shout out to Pahlka that completed the project after more than 10 years. Huge project for border modernization. And Andrew came in through the U.S. Embassy and asking if there could be opportunities to work in that project.
Just to pause you on this, because the backstory is I did not want to go. Right? Like, what person doesn't want to go to Costa Rica? Because it wasn't like...
But not for work.
It wasn't a vacation. It was we had a guy who was bothering me, being like, you got to go down. There's this modernization project, and I'm looking at it and I'm reading. I'm like, this isn't going anywhere soon. But he wore me down. We go down, and you were our first meeting. And a shout out to Abby Daniel, who was at the embassy at the time, put me in touch with you, and we came in to have this meeting that you're going. So I apologize for interrupting, but that was the backstory. I didn't even want to be there because I had doubts.
Well, I didn't want to take the meeting either because I had some of these meetings, and it was like, okay, 30 minutes in and out. Let's just keep them moving, because the project was really starting. It would take years until we would do something. But I think it was my honesty that caught your attention, because I was very honest. You can you can leave your card with me and I'll call you. Don't call me, because this is not going to move for like at least 2 or 3 years.
Right.
And Andrew was appreciative of that. I was like, really? He did call again, which I was not understanding. I'm like, I told him not to call.
Yeah, you weren't picking up on the reason for the call.
Whoa, in my defense, I was committed to seeing this through. I didn't want to just go down one time the way we do, the way we do business development. You get down, you see how it goes. And in maybe not your defense, but the opposite of whatever that is, you were only supposed to give us 30 minutes, but you gave us an hour.
Yeah.
So for something that wasn't going anywhere, you were certainly very kind with your time, I have to say.
Well, it was a very candid, nice meeting.
Okay.
And then I was confused, because I was like, I don't really know if this guy wants to offer me a job. Because we had these conversations about customs and trade and this and that.
Just the language of love.
I'm like, I don't know if he wants to offer me a job which is fine, I'm interested. Or if he wants to ask me out, which is fine, I'm interested. But I just need to know what's going on.
What's the context of this whole thing?
I don't think...
How should I dress for this?
Right.
I don't think our listeners realize how incredibly intoxicating talking about single window trade modernization.
I think it's very romantic.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. I mean, to this day, when we have a quiet evening at home, we're talking customs.
About stuff. Yeah.
I mean, it gets...
So, yeah. So the reason why I'm here is twofold.
Yeah.
Because I am, let's say, the in-house consultant. There's a very good title for me.
There you go.
We're really happy to have you here.
But also part of the family.
Yeah, and looking forward to hearing the discussion. I know you're an expert in all kinds of trade stuff, so this will be... It should be good.
I have to say, in continuing the theme of this show, which is making fun of all of us mercilessly, I will make fun of you on one thing, that when we were told we needed a guest, both
you needed one.
Right, and you told us that as well. Once you finally watched the show.
Yeah, it took me out.
God forbid.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
that's okay. I don't think my wife's watched it either.
No, but
Who wants to watch it?
I mean, like, she has colleagues who are like, Andrew and Shawn are doing something good. And she's like,
how was it?
How was it? I have no idea. So when she finally got around to watch it, you watched episode 2. I'm still not sure that you watched episode 1.
No. I did both.
We'll quiz you at the end of this. We'll see. But you did say it'd be great. You were one of the comments that said, pick a topic, go deep on it. Mm-hmm. And I think going back to the first episode, one of the things we talked about in somewhat surface level detail is some of the frustrations we have with international capacity building projects, development. This is another topic you and I talk about at home a lot. But it's not just limited to the at home. You actually brought your complaints or your concerns to the WTO this year, right? So
last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah, September last year.
We're in the same calendar.
Okay.
Let's
the
call
fiscal
it
year
within 365 days. But you actually went to the WTO, a place that was talking about how to do more capacity building projects, how to do modernization projects, how to digitize customs, how to digitize trade. And your panel was called Unpopular Opinions About Digitalization. Took me so long to learn how to pronounce English. It's really good.
You're getting there.
But talk me through. So you decided to do that. I know you had panelists with you. But how did that come to be, and why, from your perspective, did that need to be talked about at the WTO?
Well, maybe it's important to say that I work in the Global Alliance for Trade Facilitation, and my opinions, of course, come from my professional experience with them and prior with the government of Costa Rica. But today, my opinions are my own. Okay. I'm not here in that capacity. Although I did that session through the Global Alliance, and it was fun to be supported by
the cocktail is not in that capacity, but the subject matter is familiar.
Yeah. So we thought it was good to have this session because we saw the public forum of the WTO was going to be focusing on digitalization, for trade. And we are like, it's going to be a lot of people saying, hey, digitalization is awesome. Let's keep doing this. And bringing a lot of good examples of things that happen because of digitalization. But there are so many things that have been going wrong with it. Right. It is expensive. It's not achieving the goals that is set to achieve. It's not, in many cases, improving people's lives and traders' lives. And it's not doing what agencies, governments need either. And so we're like, why don't we talk about the failures? Why are we afraid to do that? Let's go and do it, because we, project managers that do projects in developing countries that a lot of times have to do with digitalization, have seen so much of the failures. And so it's important to talk about it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, because I think that is, to your point, I mean, we've gone to, all three of us have gone to so many conferences around the world, and it's like, every idea is a good idea. Yeah. Everything.
There's always these buzzwords, and they catch.
Application for blockchain.
That's exactly.
I wasn't even going to bring it up.
Artificial intelligence is the new one.
Yeah, exactly. You get these buzzwords, and everybody's like, "That's the answer. We all got to do that." It's like, but are you even doing the basic thing that supports that?
Thank you.
Because that needs to be supported by some process that's in place.
Well,
right?
and to the point, and I think this is part of some of the projects you've done go to the heart of this, is I remember being in a country, it'll remain nameless to protect the people, but I went at the field level, I was meeting with the ports, and they were like, can you please just explain to me what smart customs is? And I'm like, why are you asking? And I'm like, because
where did you get that from?
My boss's boss went to a conference and they came back saying we got to be smart customs, and they're like,
right.
I gotta be honest, I'm just trying to move containers out. I'm trying to be smart here, but what does that look like? And I think the disconnect between those discussions of like the wants and the needs, which are at the decision maker level, the decision makers both on who does the projects, who gets the money, who gives the money, is all at this level. And then it gets given, these projects get given to somebody who has to do work for a living. And it's like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Right.
So how do you, I'm curious as to how the panel went, but I'm also more curious into your work that you've done. How do you combat that? How do you undermine that reality that none of us can get away from, right? The decision makers are making that. So how do you?
No, and when we get to, so we work in developing countries, and we get there usually invited by the private sector or the government agency, can be customs, can be trade. And they usually have ideas on, we want to create a system, we want to implement a new digital tool or something like that. Okay, and so what we have come up is kind of going backwards to understand first of all, their motivation. Mm-hmm. Do you want to do this because your boss says you need something like this, or because it's a e-government policy that you have to comply with? And also, not just that, like who's telling you to do it, but also what do you expect to get out of it? Right. Is it because you want more revenue? In the case of customs, is it because you want more efficiency? Is it because you want to give a better service to traders and to the users of the system, right? And you will see that the answers, and sometimes they just look at us because they have not thought of that before. Right. The answers are, all over the place. But we have come up with this scripts and these questions to be able to find out if they are really tackling the root cause of the problems. Because otherwise, what they are doing, and in many cases they want our help to do, and we refuse, is to basically turn this process that they have today in paper or in person, and that is very inefficient, into a system, right? But
digitally inefficient process.
Thank you so much. And so it's like, there's like 100,
not just a pretty face,
100 data fields that today you're giving me in a form, and I now want you to complete them online. But can we extract that data from the past operations, or can we do something to automate the decisions? And that's when things start getting interesting, at least for us. And it's a lot of fun when we have a counterpart that, gets into the mood of, okay, let's find out if we can do something more efficient. And it's very disappointing when we see the other thing, right? Like, no, this is what the process is, and we just wanted to make it online, right? Or this is what, one of the best ones, this is what the law says we have to do, and the data we have to ask for, and so this is what we have to do. I'm like, laws and regulations can be reformed, right? Like, let's go for that, because that is the root cause of your problem, not that you don't have a system. Yeah. So
it would be like taking a 30-year-old beater car and changing it from a gas engine to an electric engine. And you're like, yeah, here we go. It's still an old car. It's falling apart.
There's other things wrong.
Yeah.
What's to let you talk a little bit about your projects, what's an example? Like what, because I know you've done a lot of different projects, but particularly, and to give a shout out to the Alliance, they do a lot more tangible projects than most organizations. So what's an example of one you've done recently?
So in one country, for example, we were working different processes in the single window, either updating processes or bringing new trade processes into the single window. We were bringing a new one. It was an environmental protection agency. So an agency that really does not see the role in trade as a very important role. Their focus is on protection of the environment, as it should be.
Right.
And so when we come and talk about efficiency for trade, they look at us like, what? Okay. So we come in and it is a very simple process. You have to get a permit to import certain things, and it's controlled basically by a quota, right? So it's very straightforward because a machine can do math. And so you get...
You guys are clever.
I can do math too. I was doing it to make the...
You get the importers to register to use the system, and they basically have to declare or ask for a permit on what they want to bring. The computer will process the request and say, okay, the quota is this is fine, right? And give you an answer. And so we're like, oh, this can be automated. So whatever you're doing now that is in paper and taking, let's say, 3 days, this will be able to do it in seconds, really. I mean, and so we come up with a process, and they say, oh, there's an issue here. The law says that the permit has to be signed by the minister, right? Like the head of the agency. We're like, okay, well, but you guys do electronic signatures. So what we will do is place his electronic signature in the system. And when the system approves that this is okay, it will stamp that electronic signature. That's it. I mean, no problem. They're like, no, but the boss says he wants to see
personally
everything. And he wants to personally sign. And I'm like, there's no wet signatures, right? So they're like, yeah, but at least then that he will be like the one that clicks.
So now you're going to create a system to slow it down.
Which is, yeah.
So I'm like, so your boss thinks he can do math better than the computer? And I was not trying to be mean, but I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? He has the system and he has advisors that can, they can do audits of the system every week if they want, to check how the quotas are going. I mean, if something's wrong with the system, we can adjust, but it's not a big deal. No, there was no way around it. They would not take it. And in the end, there's still somewhere out there, I won't say where, a system where the head of the agency has to say, it's okay.
Oh, come on.
And that's where...
It could be DHS.
I was just going to say.
It could be. And we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Because it doesn't just happen in developing countries, right? This happens everywhere.
Sure.
But there's this... So what is the problem here? Is because the country wants to push for electronic procedures. They have a single window. They want to expand the single window. But there is also a culture of control.
Yeah.
Of mistrust that doesn't allow things to move forward. And so the problem here is not, I'm not saying by any means that the systems or digitalization is not okay, is that if we don't fix this culture, this motivation problems, we will never take advantage of it as we should. That's all.
How do you get past that? I mean, like we're starting to work on a project similar, not the same exact project, but in another place where, culturally organizations have different approaches. For as rigid as customs organizations can be, oftentimes their authority comes from discretion, whereas other government agencies, have a much more, whether it's 100% or much more statutorily kind of demanding rules. So how have you found, is it you just got to start with a welcoming group, or is there some sort of stakeholder management that gets involved that you can change that mind, or is it a mix of both?
I think it's a mix of both, but for me, or from my experience, I think if you have a champion that has credibility with whoever you're working with in the government. There has to be a champion in the government. And this person also has to be reasonable and respected by the agency that they're going to be working with. Because sometimes you do have champions, but they are way out there, or they are not from the same, let's say, if you're talking to customs, you should have a customs agent, like a former agent. something
didn't go well.
Something way off, right? You need someone that they really can trust and that understands the importance of this, and that can also allow them to break free of those fears of control, or like whatever it is. Yeah. And say, well, if we need to change the law, we're going to go do it together. This is what we need, right? Instead of just being afraid of moving forward.
When you have, okay, so let's walk through this. You have a champion, you've got a good project, you've got people willing to change. They're not the only ones involved. So the complexity I'm imagining that you see in digitalization projects, it's not just government. There has to be an input there. And so how do you manage private sector? And is it champion and champion, get together, do things together and move, or is there adjusting as well?
Not really. I don't think from what I have experienced, you don't need necessarily a champion in the private sector. Private sector will come whenever they are invited. Mm-hmm. And if they feel that you are really listening to them, they will keep coming. Yeah. It's just opening the door, but for real, like
genuinely.
Yeah, being productive about it. It's not like, oh, thank you for your input and goodbye, and we'll see you at the end of the project.
Here's a comment period.
No, we will see you next week and next week and next week. Yeah. And they will keep coming if they see that what they are saying is valuable. More recently, I had a project where, private-public collaboration was not very common. But we brought the private sector, and they had so much valuable input, so many things to say about a system that we were developing, and we had ideas like, let's say, periods of times where you had to do something. So if you don't do it, then the default will be this, and they will come in and say, oh no, when I'm doing my imports, I don't have enough time for your established timeline. I need more time if I'm coming from this area of the world or this. Okay, well, we built that to accommodate, right? But they see that we are responding, that we give them a solution right there, or at least, our IT developers are like, oh, nobody thought of that, so we're going to know that and take care of it. And that is, if you build that trust, they will keep coming. Yeah. They don't need a champion. They just need, that signal that you're really paying attention.
That's interesting. When you're working, so in my mind, when you do these projects, you've got the government, you've got the this is simplifying, right? You got the government, you got the private sector, and then there's digitalization. So you have these tech companies, IT folks. This is like a multi-part question. So one, you don't come from an IT background?
No. I have learned a lot.
I was going to ask. So do you find that necessary in going into these projects? Like, how do you manage that? Because, you and I remember when we were in CBP, you were at CTPET, I was at NTC, like, OIT could just kind of like dictate to you. Right. And they would just say things and you're just like, oh. Right. I guess that's how it works. There we go. Right? Like, that's okay, I'll work around it. Yep. But you have to push, and it's just not comfortable because you're not standing on firm ground when you're pushing back. Have you found in your digitalization projects that you need to get a little bit more?
I have done my best to learn. Okay. But let me tell you, the answer is no. If the IT guys you have in the project are not able to explain to you what they are doing with simple words, to you as the project manager or as the client or the agency or the private sector that's involved, to explain to you what they are doing or they are proposing with a little graph, with some drawings, with simple words, they're not good. Yeah. That is my honest opinion. And I have built very nice relationships, friendships with my IT developers. Sure. And because I asked them, just explain this to me like I am, in school, and I need to, can you make a drawing for me with little arrows? Sure. So, this is the flow chart.
And not too many arrows, because some of them get
simplified.
But I mean, that's a real issue. The IT, sorry to interrupt.
No,
that's what I do.
You're part of
the podcast.
That's true. I forgot. I thought I was like an audience member at this point.
If I may, sir.
Yeah, but I think when you're dealing with the IT offices, the reality is those guys speak a very different language.
Yeah.
And they're used to speaking it to each other. Mm-hmm. So there's never an issue where it's like, oh, he didn't understand what I meant. Yeah. Then they speak that same language to you, and you're like, I don't know what the hell you just said.
I don't know if that is a good idea.
So it's really important to level set at the beginning of these meetings when you have IT involved for whatever the change is. It's like, guys, talk to us like we're children, please.
Yeah. And somebody at my office, actually, it was a comms person, but they said something that have stuck with me. If you cannot explain your job to a teenager for them to understand, you're not doing a good job.
Assuming the teenager is paying attention to
well,
wants to engage with you.
That's another story. But at that level, if you cannot explain it in simple terms, you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. And you have to be fired, honestly. And for a project, this is the type of partners that you want. You want an IT company that will be willing to sit down and draw things for you until you understand, because you are the client and you're entitled for that. As the funding organization or as the agency that's the client or the private sector that's involved, everyone should understand in very simple terms. So that is necessary.
You know what's crazy about this discussion? So we started off with, the whole focus of what you're talking about is simple projects, right? Like, let's get something tangible. Let's deliver something. Mm-hmm. And in 15 minutes of talking, it's become incredibly complicated from, right? So the point is, you look at the way, we'll just say it, it's not a secret. You look at the way the U.S. did what is now the single window ITDS before it is, it just is such a monster thing that every single one of these aspects that we're talking about just becomes exponentially more complicated. And what I have, the part I kind of want to end this, because we could talk forever, and it's weekend, so we'll be talking about this all weekend.
This must be a fun relationship.
Oh, you have no idea.
Just hanging out, drinking, talking customs,
tomorrow morning, bagels and digitalization talk.
God help me.
It's really good. But where I want to kind of to take it to end the conversation is, what I have seen in those complicated projects is, I don't want to call it a disingenuous measurement of success, because at the end of the day, we all still struggle with measuring success. What are the metrics? How do we know this was an efficient modernization project? How do we know that things when they became digitized, how do we know that it worked? And what you see in these complicated projects is they're not defining the end. They're defining their own work in a way that just kind of repeats the cycle, and it just kind of builds on itself. So for you, as you are building your reputation as a crusader for simple streamlined digitalization projects, how do the measuring of how you know it works? How do you go through the steps, get incredibly deep in the weeds with the IT folks, build a champion, give a signal to the stakeholder. I'm already exhausted just describing that.
Yeah, no,
and then
it's too much.
And then you have to come out at the end and say, okay, we need to know whether this worked or not.
Yeah, I think the secret is, did your project deliver quick wins in a short period of time? This problem with single windows are a good example, and the US single window, I don't even want to go there.
Mm-hmm. We have listeners who are working on that.
These mega projects are the worst idea that I have ever seen. Regional projects, the worst idea. Just start with it doesn't matter if that is your, the end goal. Yeah. That's okay. But you have to start with something and say, okay, it's a regional project. Okay, let's connect this country with this country, this agency with this agency. Mm-hmm. If this works, then we go to the next, to the next, to the next.
And it becomes regional.
And it will become a regional system. But don't start saying that you're going to build a regional system, because it's so complicated. And also, if you start simple with one process, one agency, whatever, and then you expand, you build also the trust of the people involved. They will help you with the next stakeholders.
They'll be the force multipliers.
They will tell other people, this made our life simpler. You should try it, and you build from your mistakes, and everything will start getting better. Those humongous projects are no good. I don't like them. This is also why I like the work I do, because our budgets are small, so our systems are small.
So it works out that
but
way.
they are effective. They solve one problem. They don't solve all the problems. They solve your problem today.
Right.
You know, and that's we don't work for more than, I don't know, 12 months in a project. So so that's it. So yeah, that is basically my.
I have to ask you.
Yeah, I wanted to.
Did you write a book or
no? This is what I was gonna. This is what I was gonna ask. I was like, our first guest thinks she's gonna get bored.
No,
so she brought a book.
That's hilarious.
Just in case.
But I wanted to share this with you because I work in developing countries, and you might think, oh, this is a problem in developing countries, and
I think we would if we did work
not.
Inside the government for many years. And once you do work inside the government for many years, you go, oh, yeah, it's not.
In some ways, it's more problematic.
Yeah.
No, exactly. But this is a problem everywhere. And when we were preparing for the WTO session, we used this book. It's called Recoding America, and it talks about many projects in the U.S. government.
Okay.
And their failures, which are very, enlightening.
We should tag this and Jennifer Pahlka.
Jennifer Pahlka, if she listens to us, we want you to write a book about the single window, the ACE system in the US. I think she will be very entertained.
We're all going to make a bet here. Like, anyone want to bet on the fact that she's listening to this right now?
There's
how about,
chance.
But let's bet that we can reach her.
I agree.
I think we can.
I think we can. I think if somebody knows Jennifer Pahlka, let her know.
I mean, you just have to say a name 3 times and then the person.
Oh, maybe.
That's the Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
That's the Beetlejuice marketing. That's what it's called.
Exactly.
So yeah, there you have it. It's my issues with digitalization in a nutshell.
I love it. Hopefully.
I hope it sparks more conversations. Not in our house, but maybe somewhere else.
No, I mean, this is literally Thursday night. This is what we talk about. I mean, Jennifer Pahlka comes to dinner with us and says that.
Oh, God.
Can you explain this?
Yes, wonderful.
Anything else you want to add before we start to close?
No, well, I don't know. I don't have Shawnisms. I have heard them.
Oh, no,
I do not.
Don't worry. This is his thing. He likes embarrassing me at the end of every episode.
I do.
And it's perfectly fine.
Oh, I can embarrass Andrew if that is a thing.
Well, I would welcome that. I mean, first I'll say I love laughing at myself. So the Shawnisms are hilarious. I find them just as funny as anybody else. But yeah, if you want to switch gears while you're here, if there's something embarrassing you want to tell me about Andrew.
Just so I understand what's happening right now, we are not doing the Shawnism in favor of making fun of me.
Yeah,
why not?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I like that.
This might be the last episode we do.
No, I think you know a little bit about this. So Andrew has been, since the pandemic, he started looking into, doing more things at home, like everyone else, baking your own bread, doing more things at home. But we lived in an apartment, so he was limited. Now we have a house that has a backyard, but it's in DC, and he has decided basically that this backyard is enough for him to be a farmer. So he started with vegetables and fruits.
Okay.
So we have figs and blueberries starting.
Oh, that's nice.
It is nice.
It's not that's not the usual choice.
Slightly successful, but we have more success with tomatoes. We have tomatoes for days and to jar and everything else.
Which we also do that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I can jar some tomatoes, we have cucumbers and eggplants, which has been fine. But I think he wants to make this space in our backyard bigger and bigger every year. So I have to put my foot down. I'm like, you cannot be a farmer in DC. That is
I beg to differ.
the thing. And the last straw is I come out to the deck and he's talking to our neighbor through the fences.
Okay.
And they are discussing whether they can have a chicken coop in the middle of the 2 properties, because that is their way of avoiding DC regulations about how far away you have to be from the other neighbor.
Oh, intriguing. So
to set the stage, and then I'll let you keep making fun. This is an objective presentation. I'm not defending.
Okay. You have the right to defend.
To set the stage. It's a tiny. I mean, you've been in my house. It's the distance between the houses are quite small, right? It's just the backyard to an alley of DC neighborhood.
Right.
All the houses, they're row houses, they're on top of each other. So, and I'll give credit where credit is due. My neighbors are phenomenal gardeners. Like they have their whole yard is just like an oasis of vegetables and stuff. So I was out talking to them as I want to do, and they're great people. And I was talking about chickens, and then Laura caught me having this conversation.
Can you imagine chickens? And then I forbid this conversation from moving forward, and I said, "You guys, it's just
shut it down."
No, because you have been here in the first world, and you have never been in charge of chickens. But my grandmother had chickens, and all of us, my cousins and me, had to take care of the chickens, and it's not fun. They smell awful. Look. They peck on you. It's a whole. So,
but what about the eggs? I hear the eggs are amazing when you have
fresh
chicken.
Yeah, no, you have to pick them up. They're disgusting. No.
I'm good. Just go to the store.
I just want to say, I appreciate that, and I love that your practical experience. But you're comparing 1980s Costa Rica technology for the chicken coop to what I've seen those Instagram feeds.
He thinks there's digitalization in chicken coops.
Robots do it now. It's all
robotic chicken coops.
So for everyone that's listening to this podcast and knows you, I bet they didn't know that you have a farmer inside.
I'm 100% sure there's probably a lot of people on this podcast.
That was good. I like that. Not quite as personally demeaning as mine, but I earned mine. Right. Yeah, I earned mine.
It's
But I thank you very much. Yeah, I'll ride him on the chicken coop thing for a while. Yeah, I definitely, that's good material.
There will be an opportunity for Shawnism on the next podcast.
Yeah, I hope so.
I do have a good one.
Have you written these down? Because I have texted them to you for the past 3-4 years.
I have not.
There's some gems.
Yeah.
And I know I didn't write them down. No, there's some one-offs where I was reading a book and I was like, oh, did you know this? And you're like, wow, you're an idiot. Yeah. It's amazing. yeah, it's just absolutely incredible how dumb you can be.
We'll get... They're making me laugh just thinking about the list right now, but we'll get to that. But I have to say, for our first guest, appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
It was awesome to
do. I enjoyed it very much.
Good. Nice having you.
And the cocktail was awesome.
Thank you.
Right.
Cheers.
Thanks. Cheers.
All right.